Hello, welcome back. You join us just outside of Torquay Marina here on this beautiful 2010 Squadron 65. I'm Jason, I'm here with my colleague
Tom Wills, and join us for one of our best videos yet. It is a bit blowy, but you're going to like this one. Let's go.
So before we start at the back of the boat on the bathing platform, I actually think, you know, when you actually use your boat out at sea, this is one of the areas that you will tend to sort of spend a lot of time in, here, the flybridge and the cockpit. But obviously this bathing platform is huge, and I think you would easily get a Williams 325 on here, if, you know, even off a 285 or whatever. However, regardless of what tender of choice you decide to go for, you still have ample room here, whether it be starboard side, port side too. You'll definitely still be able to get down the back and access both sides. You can see, obviously, you've got your feet marks here for your tender chocks and obviously your tie downs. So real nice area. Obviously, being a high-low bathing platform will submerge into the water, easily launching your tender, and then you can bring it up slightly, get your director chairs out here and just watch the world go by. So real nice area. Obviously you've got access bathing ladder here. If you wanted to go swimming off the back, that's obviously how you would re-enter the boat, which kindly accommodates with this lovely shower here. So we've got a nice rainfall shower, hot and cold water. So, you know, really nice to get all that salt water off you before you go back on board for the evening or the day. So obviously, as well as all the nice things about the stern of the boat, you also do have in this locker here your access to your shore power. Obviously we've got two here, one being for your systems and the other one will be for your AC. So, and there's a bit of good space in there actually, so depending on the setup of the lead or your mooring, you can put the rest of the line in there and slowly stick that away. Obviously, coming up the steps, as you would expect on this size, we do have a passerelle. So if you are considering cruising in the Med, perhaps this will obviously have its uses. In the UK, double up as a few things, diving board, ironing board perhaps, you never know. So coming on in through to the cockpit, on the port side here, we've got a lot of our controls here for our obviously nicest part of the boat. So obviously your deck lights, underwater lights. There's an option to have the boat name lit, backlit, sorry. So if you flick that on, and then obviously operating the passerelle, the high-low bathing platform here. Passerelle is offered by this control panel here. Now what you will also see is a Webasto control. So this cockpit does have, as you'd expect, a huge cockpit cover that surrounds the whole boat. But on top of that, it does also have the heating into the cockpit. So on those sort of nicer winter days, if you're still on board and using it, you can really, you know, keep this area warm and almost use it as a bit of a conservatory, if you like, an extension of the boat. So if you had the dining table out here, a few chairs, you know, maybe October, February, March, maybe more March rather than February, still real good use of space. Obviously both port and starboard, as you'd expect, you've got the winches for your docking lines and some huge rope lockers, which is a real nice feature actually. So if we just open this here, you know, we obviously got the lines from the dock today stored in there, but you can really put all your excess ropes in there, keeping all this area nice and clean, all nice and tidy. And that's repeated both sides. So with that, I think what we'll do is we'll go up to the forward deck. So just want to show you, obviously, these decks and these working decks, how much space there is and how safe that is going up the boat. Because obviously you are going to be operating this from a point with, you know, fenders, lines, and stuff like that. So you've got to feel safe. And actually, there's plenty of room on the side here. We're not squeezing in doing this, which you might do on sort of smaller vessels. Obviously, rail height is a nice height, is up to my waist, and a good grab handle here as well. So all nice and safe as you're going up the deck to the bow of the boat, whether that is to perhaps do the lines and fenders or even relax on the sunbed. Now we have got the sunbed cushions, they're just away at the moment and this area will be clean, so apologies for that. But as that is obviously a huge space, and a little bit later on when Tom takes you down through the accommodation, you can see the blinds are on at the moment, but all this natural light which will go into the cabin area. So yeah, really nice. So this brings us up to the anchor. Obviously got a huge anchor winch, 4 cleats, all for tying off, whether you're securing a second anchor or a line. And then obviously we've got lockers both sides as well. Not as deep as you'd probably expect, however, the cabin does make up for it down below, which we'll show you a little bit later. So obviously starboard deck now, we'll go down the side here. It's repeated both sides with the width and the space. We've got this nice low level lighting, which is on. I appreciate it is the day, but I think you can see that. Nice blue lighting throughout the whole boat. Again, never handy storage locker, both sides, port and starboard. So lines, fenders, or even a cover as we got in here. Stores that all nicely out of the way. On the starboard side, we do also have a crew access door for the inner helm. Now you'll see this more obviously when you go inside, but this sort of boat it's very on the cusp. It's more sort of owner operator. However, if you decide to have crew or maybe get them in for the day, it's a nice way for them to access the side decks and not disturb you when you're at sea or whatever that may be. Or also from an operation point of view, if you do decide to be on the inner helm, perhaps you're coming in starboard side too, it's nice and easy to step outside if you prefer that over the flybridge, but each to their own, as they say. So obviously got your water filler here, and then obviously we've just here, this is where we'll fill up for the diesel, so in there, and then you've got a little overspill drain there as well. So it's worth mentioning as well, this boat has obviously got teak decks throughout, was recently cleaned yesterday, so it's all looking really good. And we're now back in the cockpit, where I'm going to show you this crew cabin, which is absolutely huge. So it's actually very heavy to operate as well. So that comes up, gas strutted, and then basically, if you go down below, really nice size in there. You've got 2 twin berths as well as a heads at the end with a toilet, sink, and shower. Great place for obviously storage, or grandkids do like this area. They feel like it's their own little space on the boat. But yeah, really nice size, so you can definitely store all your bits and bobs down there. Obviously, as you can see, we are just outside of Torquay Marina at the moment, so we'll do the engine room and stuff later because we're obviously operating right now, but we'll show you all that space, huge area, and what is down there and what you can find. So worth also mentioning, which we'll show on the screen, we do also have rear cameras and one in the cockpit, so the boat has got a lot of kit on it throughout. And with that, I think we've got the flybridge. So as we'd expect with Fairline, floating steps, nice sort of stainless steel, grab rails, and then we're up to the flybridge where the other members of the team are sat out watching for us. So we're on the fly now, huge space throughout. You've got this massive dining table, easily get sort of 6 or maybe 8 with you with the director's chairs here. 2 sun loungers at the back with full storage underneath. You've got this huge bimini as well, which when unfully folded will come right the way to the front over the helm area and giving you shade when required. So yeah, the volume is just huge all throughout. Nice wet bar here. So we've got a grill, sink, fridge and an ice maker. So everything you need for a great day up on the flybridge once it's fully stocked. And you spend a lot of time up here. There's loads of space up here. You can have a party of 10 of you up here quite easily. Notice under the saloon table, the flybridge table while I'm here, 3-pin plug as well. All nice little addition there. Speakers throughout. And then this brings us to the helm. So as repeated upstairs and we'll see downstairs, we've had navigation all upgraded. Here is the cameras I mentioned earlier. So we've got a camera for the cockpit, bathing platform, engine room, which we will go down inside and show you, and then obviously one on the flybridge. And then obviously your second screen, you can configure this how you like, but we've got it on the chart plotter at the moment. You can have the radar. Then it's also got 2 smaller screens for the skipper to see, as well as the co-pilot. Obviously, what else have we got here? Let's have a look. We've got autopilot, obviously lat and long, speed, depth, temperature, all there, your VHF and bow and stern thruster, as well as your trim tabs, Lenco trim tabs. So yeah, very nice and easy to operate. You've got your start buttons here as well, and then obviously you can manually do this if you didn't want to use the touchscreen, but you can have chart combo, fish finder, audio. The boat has got speakers throughout the whole, all the cabins, all the exterior, so you can really have a good party on here if you really wanted. Let's have a look. Yeah, so huge there. And then obviously you've got sun loungers, both port and starboard, nice area. So if you're going on a long family cruise, everyone's got somewhere to sit and enjoy the view. So yeah, So I think with that, what we'll now do is we'll go back down to the cockpit and I'll hand you over to my colleague Tom, who will take us through the accommodation, saloon area, and just really show you this boat and how it all works.
So Jason has done a great job there of showing you just the volume on board this Squadron 65. My job now is to show you the volume on the interior, so come with me and come and have a look. Now, as I said in Jason's video, it's all about volume, the flybridge, the aft deck, the bathing platform, the foredeck. And that theme of volume continues as you come into the saloon. You can see immediately you've got this wraparound seating section on the port side that you could easily seat your guests on. You've got these movable stools, so you can put these here and all of a sudden you've got a great entertaining space. The table here is expandable, so you can actually expand that if you want to do, to make a bigger coffee table or a lunch table, whatever you wanted to do, but it's a really sensible size. Up here you've got storage. Now, a boat of this size, you're going to be spending extended periods of time on board. So I think it's really important that Fairline on this boat utilised as much storage as possible. And you've got storage all the way along those port top boxes. We've got storage all the way along starboard side as well. Okay, it's not that deep, but it's still practical storage. Here, facing the seating section, we've got this lovely television, AV setup. And you might even spot on this boat these awesome Bang & Olufsen speakers. So there is a really, really great audio system on board this boat if you wanted to sit down on a rainy day and watch a movie. In here you can see you've got some of the AV equipment, you've got a skybox, we've got the remotes there for the TVs, etc, etc. So it's all in there. And of course, if you wanted to add things like Starlink and all that type of stuff that people are now fitting, then we could look to do that for you. We've had to turn the lights off in here. If you're wondering why the lights are off, we have a real problem with the GoPro and the flickering of the lights, even when you change the hut. So I do apologise, we don't have the lights on. Moving slightly further forward, on the starboard side, we have your main dining area on this saloon. One thing I do want to point out to you is just, you've got one flat floor running all the way from that rear threshold there with the doors, all the way up forward here, past the galley. And I think that helps to give you that sense of space. Looks like we've got an updated engineered flooring in here, which looks really nice against the lacquer from the factory. So like I say, starboard side there, you've got your seating group, but it also double ups as a dining table. So I can actually unfold beautiful lacquer work from Fairline there. Storage continues up there as well. And this area faces what is a really nicely sized galley. Super practical on board this boat. We've got 4 drawer fridges. So you can actually have these set up, I believe, as either a freezer or a fridge. So you can have freezer that side, fridge that side, or the other way around, but there's a lot of refrigeration on board this boat. Great, again, if you're on board with friends and family for extended periods of time. The boat, of course, has generator. So we've got an electric oven, electric hob. Don't have it on today, but it does have that. Integrated storage, or you could use that for waste if you wanted to in the deck there. And then you've got an actual waste disposal in there as well. Unusual to see a waste disposal. Storage-wise, we've got sensible storage up here, shelved out. And then running along there, lots of natural light coming back in from those huge windows that you'll have seen on the drone footage, letting lots of natural light into this space. So yeah, works really nicely. Stepping up towards the helm, you know we like to talk about the helm on One Marine. Jason's already alluded on his outside tour to this starboard side helm door. Now I think this is key. When you get to having a starboard side helm door, a helm door generally, I think you really know you've made it, and it proves it's a big boat. What I like on this helm door is you can actually use it. Often these helm doors are tucked beside the either helm seat or co-pilot seat, and you can't actually use it. But on this boat you can. You've got a clear passage all the way through. So this is a very usable door, even if you are underway or you've got your crew, shall we say, here at the helm. Helm, Fairline, I have to say, they do these lovely comfortable helm seats, super supportive with lots of electronic controls, a bit like you'd have on your car. So I can move this exactly like I could in the car. The dash itself, as with that flybridge helm, has had loads of updated nav gear on it, or money spent on it, I should say. You've got huge Raymarine axioms, you've got this additional axiom here, we've got the autopilot down the starboard side of the wheel, those lovely MAN engines, and then they're just purring along there. They really do sound lovely. And then we've got obviously the bow and stern thruster down there. I won't go through massive detail on the screens because you'll have seen what these axioms can do before, I'm sure, but they certainly do everything and more. There is a remote for the thrusters, so if you are manoeuvring this boat, it's a big boat, you have got thrusters here if you wanted to use them. And I believe, I might have to beat this bit out, but I think they're hydraulic thrusters. So again, a really, really important point to point out there. Control panel here, so you can see here we've got the battery voltage data. We've got freshwater level, black water levels. So it's really nicely laid out, very much a Fairline sort of quality feel. And then here you've got all your battery isolators as well. So I won't mess with that because we are running at the moment. Come down with me now into the cabin space. So super practical. We've got a day head. So this is a 3 cabin with 3 ensuite boat. But again, it's going to be about entertaining. So if you've got guests on board, it's really nice to have a separate heads, day heads there, which gives you the ability for people to use this space without entering the cabins. Down into this lower lobby, I'm right down now low in the boat. I can feel how low I am in the hull, and I've got access this way to the forward cabin, access behind me to the master cabin, but also the guest cabin here. So let's start this way first. Guest cabin is a nice size. We've got 2 twin berths in here, so it's no Pullman berths, a nice size. As I mentioned a minute ago, all cabins are en suite. What you notice down here as well of this actual boat is just how nice the veneer is down here below deck. She's in beautiful condition down here, she really is. The lacquer work is a beautiful gloss to it. Got obviously lovely vacuum flush loos in there, hanging wardrobe space, everything you'd expect really from a boat of this size you've got. You've got opening portholes and you have got air conditioning. So as Jason mentioned earlier on, if you wanted to take this boat to the Med, then you could. AV in all bedrooms, so you've got a Samsung TV there with a Bose audio system below. And then if we follow Jason, into that forward cabin. Now Jason mentioned earlier on, if you remember, if you've watched us this far, which I hope you have, he mentioned about the anchor lockers not being as deep. Now the reason for that is we're a long way forward with this cabin, so we're maximising the volume inside this forward cabin. And if you just look how, hopefully this gives you an idea on volume on the GoPro, just how much room there is. You walk in here, you've got a fantastic head height, you've got that huge deck light. If I just try and do that blind back, look at that, if I open that, it's absolutely massive. If I move that right back, just look how much natural light floods back down into this space. If you remember, we saw that earlier on in the video. Lovely double berth mattress here with lovely easy access both port and starboard to walk up onto the mattress itself, and you've got lots of overhead lighting. So yeah, really sensible space. As I hinted to a second ago, they're all en suite, great size showers. So you can see here a full walk-in shower with these beautifully glassed hinged doors, the countertop sink, and a loo in there. So we had a sort of detailed exterior washdown. We haven't done an interior washdown yet or clean through. That is happening in the next couple of days. But even without that, she presents nicely. If you follow me now, we're going to go down to the master cabin. Before I do that, let's just point out here another thing of big size, big boat, washer dryer. So washer dryer down here in the lower lobby, and then a great space for storing some linens in there. So if you have got guest turnovers, then you can accommodate that without having to go ashore. Another really nice storage area in here. If I just get in here, you can see, they could actually, okay, I won't spend any time in here, but as a storage space, we all know it's all about storage on this type of boat, and this is a great use of the space. Nicely doored, with nice door, same door as all the other cabins. Power in here, you can stick a Hoover in here, you can even stick an additional cool box in here if you really wanted to. But great place for storing some dry goods in here, and it goes quite a long way back. So a usable space for sure. And if I just sneak out of there and then come into what is the master cabin. Now this is a full beam master, as you'd expect. And I quite like on this layout with the bed effectively on the port side. So rather than the bed being sort of in line with the boat, it's actually on the port side. And it's different. It gives you a nice flow into the cabin. It gives you a huge amount of floor space here. You've got this glass panel leading into your master cabin ensuite. Looking at a view from the window, I mean, there's not many bathrooms with a view like that, even here in Torquay. It's a pretty special view through those windows. Lovely surface mounted sink there, and the biggest shower on board, as you'd expect, but a really nice sized shower in there. And the toilet itself, or WC, is tucked behind this door, so you've still got complete privacy for that. So even though you've got this opaque panel here for the shower and the sink, the toilet does have its own space. Wardrobe wise, here in the master cabin, lots of full hanging height space, which is all lit. So you've got there, and then I like this veneer. Feels special in there with those sort of veneer drawers. Dressing room space here, and that's some nice detailing there, obviously behind the shower. So hopefully that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the interior. we are now going to get this boat back on its berth in Torquay, and as Jason mentioned, we're going to show you the engine room, and it's definitely worth a look. Now is a great time to subscribe. We'll leave you with a bit of drone as we enter back into the marina, but don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. Most of our viewers aren't subscribed, and we are chasing that 10,000, so go on, help us out, give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in a minute.
So we're now down in the engine room. You may notice something slightly different if you are still with us. Hopefully you are, promise you are. We had a little bit of a change around, so I've got a different shirt on, hot work, we've obviously going along outside. So back to the engine room. We've obviously got these two great big MAN engines, 1,100 horsepower each. Great engines in my opinion, and we are running just about 1,000 hours on this boat. So yeah, good engines all around. Obviously you've got your intakes here, so you can see anything coming through. When they're on, obviously the water comes in there through the engine, cools down the engine and back out through this exhaust, where you can see these good size exhaust jackets on here, so all nice and protection from the heat. Over in the far corner we've got the huge generator, so if you're out off the mooring and at anchor, or in a marina may not have facilities perhaps, up on a river, you can still run the boat fully on there. We've obviously got our Victron chargers and inverters here as well on the wall, which then slowly just above and to the left is all our isolators. And then obviously we got our Webasto diesel heater back in the corner over there as well. And then to the starboard side we have the the side power hydraulic thrusters there, so that's obviously all your kit for there. And then obviously starboard and port you've got the two huge fuel tanks. Now you might have noticed in the video earlier when Tom was showing you the Helm, we had the cameras on. So actually, very nice little touch here. We've got the Raymarine camera. So actually when you're running the boat, you can have that all on. It gives you pictures of the aft deck, the cockpit and the engine room. So if you're on a long passage, real nice bit of kit actually, just so you don't have to keep potentially checking, the good little sort of safety feature. As well as obviously our automatic Seafire fire extinguisher here. The owner obviously at some stage has fitted this, nice and handy to put any spares in it you like. Currently needs topping up quite clearly, all looking a little bit empty. But yeah, I mean that's the engine room in a whole. We're not engineers, but you know, we always advise if you're going to go on a long journey or anything like that, just come down, do your basic checks, check your oil for example, you can check the coolant, check your bilges are all dry, make sure your seacocks are open. Perhaps when you first start the engines, fire them up, you can just come down and make sure that you've got good water flow into there as well as coming out at the stern. So yeah, all done. And with that, I think that's the engine room all wrapped up. So that brings us to the end of the tour of this Squadron 65. We do hope you enjoyed it. I mean, overall, we really like this boat. It gives you loads of space, 3 huge cabins, plenty of space to relax, socialise, take family and friends out, and also go off long distance cruising. And that's my sort of view on it. Would you say, Tom?
Yeah, definitely. I've been really interested in taking such a sizable boat out here locally in Torquay.
Yeah.
I think it's in good condition overall. There's lots of updates of equipment on there. As Jason said, hopefully you've enjoyed watching it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button, leave a thumbs up and leave us a comment below and let us know if you'd like to see any more about this boat or any updates for our future videos. So yeah, thanks for watching and we'll see you again soon.